to talk about something that's been on my mind for a while, and that is the alarming rise of anti-Semitism in America. Recently, Nick Cannon got some criticism for having a guest on his podcast in which they discussed a little bit of Louis Farrakhan, who Louis Farrakhan is a minister. He's a leader in the Nation of Islam. He's pretty famous among a lot of people, but one of the things that makes him a controversial figure is the fact that he has openly called Jews Satan. He's called them termites. He has openly said really bad things about gay people. And I can go on. I'm actually on the ADL, Fighting Hate Speech for Good, and I encourage you to go on this website. I mean, the quotes by him and the things that he has said against Jewish people, it's like, oh, look, I'm still scrolling. Okay, I got to the end of it. So you had Nick Cannon with his guest on, and then Nick Cannon is publicly praising Louis Farrakhan and praising some of the things he said. So he got some criticism for that, and I will say, I want to make it clear, Nick Cannon has come out and apologized, and I believe he gave a very genuine apology, and it wasn't one of those cowardless, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I don't know anything. It was generally saying like, hey, I thought some of the things that he said were good. I openly condemn any sort of racism, anti-Semitism, or hate speech of any kind. I do not agree with that, and I condemn it. If he said anything like that, I condemn it. I was trying to pull out the good things that he said, this and that. Chelsea Handler got criticism about a month and a half ago for posting a video clip of Louis Farrakhan in which she said, people were saying, how can you post this? He's a known anti-Semite. He speaks out against gay people. And she basically justified his anti-Semitism, which I find almost stomach turning. And the reason I want to talk about this is because this has sort of become normal and this is on the rise, but I heard some pretty alarming things the other day. I didn't realize this, but I just want you to keep this in mind. The Holocaust was only 80 years ago. It was not that long ago. Eugenics was being practiced here in the US up until the 70s, and it was legal in some states up until the 70s. Eugenics is the practice of like controlling a race and killing those who you don't see fit. In psychiatric hospitals for kids, kids were sterilized, adults were sterilized, the people that they didn't see fit to have kids. This was being practiced up until the 70s here in the United States. Another thing to know, Hitler did not violently overthrow the German government. He was appointed chancellor in a democratic process. So there were people that supported him and there were people that like him. There is a saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. When you demonize an entire group of people, like Louis Farrakhan is doing, when you call Jewish people Satan, when you demonize them, when you take away their human qualities and the fact that they are good people, you dehumanize them at the same time. And when you dehumanize somebody, you're basically making a platform for justifying violence against them and for justifying hate speech against them. The same thing is sort of happening with Trump supporters. You see people publicly. I saw an elected official today call everyone that voted for Trump a white supremacist. Now, when you're calling people racist, when you're calling them white supremacists, you're basically saying that those people are evil, which in turn dehumanizes those people, which in turn justifies violence against those people and justifies bullying and targeting those people and dehumanizing them. So I just think that that is something very important that we need to keep in mind. We need to understand our history. There were a lot of people involved in the Holocaust that probably thought that Jewish people were actually evil and probably thought that what they were doing was righteous and what they were doing is good, and it was not. It was pure evil. The only way we get over this is if we drop the race thing, we drop the religious thing, and we say that we are all humans and we all want good things, and we have to condemn all kinds of racism, all kinds of sexism, all kinds of bigotry on every single level. It doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. It doesn't matter what class you are in. We have to all come together and condemn it together in order to grow as a society, in order to not have history repeat itself. You already see this happening. What did they start doing in Nazi Germany? They started burning books. They started controlling the narrative. What do they do in communist countries? They control the narrative. They control the news that you get. They control everything. What is happening in the United States right now? What did we just talk about in the video before this? A journalist had to quit her job because she was getting bullied for speaking her mind and not going with the predetermined narrative of the paper. So does this sound like an extreme warning to have? Like, maybe, but that's why we stop it right here and we have these conversations right now and we nip it in the butt so it does not become something bigger. I never, ever, ever, ever thought that I would see in the United States of America anti-Semitism coming back. Never thought I would see that. The Holocaust, the liberation of Auschwitz was only 75 years ago. So that's just something to think about. Yeah. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye. Okay, actually, I'm so sorry I'm back. One more thing I wanted to point out. A few years ago, I did some research on the Women's March because I just kind of wasn't down with it. And I was like, why am I not down with this? Am I just bitter and mean? And what's wrong with me? Because my gut feeling was telling me that something was off. So I did some research on the Women's March and looked at the women that were starting the Women's March. I looked at the co-chairs and all the things like that. And they always say, if you ever want to find the true intentions of something, follow the money. I didn't necessarily follow the money, but I did look at who was in charge of the Women's March. So you have two of the co-chairs. One is, there's others involved, but one is Tamara Mallory. The other one is Linda Sarsour. Tamara Mallory is a huge advocate and huge fan of Louis Farrakhan. I believe they're good friends. Linda Sarsour, I don't know her involvement in Louis Farrakhan. I would imagine there's some sort of involvement. But the concerning thing about Linda Sarsour is she has many tweets that have since been deleted, but if you Google, you can still see nothing really goes away when you delete it. She's had a lot of pro-Sharia law tweets, which goes completely against women's rights, completely against feminism. And she also had probably one of the most disturbing and concerning tweets I have ever seen. Ayan Hirsi Ali is a Muslim reformist that goes and speaks for women. She is a survivor of female genital mutilation, which means she had, Linda Sarsour does not like her. Linda Sarsour had a tweet a while back that basically said that Ayan Hirsi Ali does not deserve to have her, knowing, Linda knows this, knowing that Ayan Hirsi Ali is a victim of female genital mutilation. I don't know whether you like Ayan Hirsi or not, whether you agree with what she says or not, whether you think she's just awful or not, to be a woman and to call yourself a feminist and to tweet something so vile, so disgustingly vile, knowing that this woman is a victim. I can't get down with your movement and I will not be a part of your movement. You are not a feminist, in my opinion. I can't even picture myself saying that to someone I absolutely hate. But those are my thoughts on all of that. Let me know what you guys think. See you later. Bye.